saying out loud. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna get weed on a Wednesday. It's my first day back on the podcast. I had COVID sitting in for me, hosting, boasting, sitting on the shit, just roasting me, the host of the show. I didn't even plan to really flow, but then I started getting it, started hitting it, started shitting on the competition, and I'm stiffing it, diffing it, you know me, I ain't even gotta say words. But hey, bitch, wait till you see my... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. Sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't. Obviously, I just dropped a gem for you. Okay? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wednesday. We get weird on Wednesdays. As you know, first time here, first time listener, first time caller, first time watcher. Welcome. We got a hell of a show for you today. Hell of a show. Here's the thing. I'm like Mary Poppins. I'm like Walt Disney. I just think of it as we're going. Sometimes I got some topics, some things I want to talk about. Sometimes I just go, press the button, dance, monkey. That's what sometimes I feel. I feel like a little monkey trapped in a cage. Speaking of monkeys trapped in a cage, something similar. I believe they are in the marsupial family. So I don't know if that's really a monkey. But anyway, only in Texas will you be merging on the freeway and you look over at the car next to you and you see a car with cages full of sugar gliders. If you don't know what they are, they're in the marsupial family. They're like little flying squirrels. Okay? I look over as I'm merging onto the freeway 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh, that's a goddamn sugar glider. And a whole car full. They had cages stacked with just sugar gliders. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Only in Texas you're going to find that. And wherever they come from. I bet you'll find them in Florida too. Florida's pretty crazy. That's one thing that blows my mind about Texas. Is you got the liberty to do whatever you want. So I'm getting an abortion. Hey, too soon. Okay? Or too late, if you know what I'm saying. But for real, that's fucked up. That's what's weird about the abortion thing is who's the liberty for? Because it's like, my body, my choice, but then the way the court looks at it is they're like, no, there's another body in there and it doesn't want to be murdered, you know? It's a weird situation. I know it's a very touchy situation that I don't know enough about, but I usually stand on the side of people's liberty and their own choices. And I think, you know, I can understand that this is a gray area because you look at some situations and you're like, okay, well, these people just keep abusing the system and doing this and doing that. But then you look on the other side of it and it's like, okay, we have people who, survivors of violent situations that they became pregnant and all this different stuff that happens. And you're like, that girl 100% should have the choice to do that. And that's the side that I err on, or I lean on, is always going to be, leave it up to her, you know, her body, her choice. I'm a big believer in that. Okay. And that's across the board. So don't tell me you're about that choice. If you're like, you gotta get the vaccine though. You gotta get the vaccine though, you know? But let's get back on this Texas talk about the animals. I'm sure you guys know, I've talked about it ad nauseum, about how there's so many exotic animals out here in Texas. There is. I've seen just so much in the past couple weeks. My Rolodex of the amount of new bugs that I've seen has really gone through the roof. There is no joke. It is no joke that Texas has a lot of bugs, and I'm here for it. You know how dope it is? I swear, outside my apartment right now, it looks like, it looks like a Halloween horror show for bugs because there's spider webs hanging down and dragonflies caught in it. Looks fucking dope, to be honest with you. I'm here for it. But I got now, you remember that wasp I told you about that bullied me on my fucking patio? It lives there now. It decided to build a little home underneath the wood because after that, I paid the guy to come out. I didn't pay him, but I pay monthly for bug control, pest control. I go out on the patio. Now, this fucking wasp that's the size of a thumb, it decides to live under this little piece of wood, and it doesn't bother me anymore. Okay? It lives there, and it goes in like it has a little garage. It just lands, it goes boop, right into its home. Will come out and fly right off. It doesn't try to fuck with me. I think we're pretty much roommates at this point. But it's dope. It's dope because I'm like, there is so much nature, so much reality going on around here. June bugs, bigger than a plum flying around. All right? I got dragonflies just fucking midair. How crazy is that? You see 2 dragonflies just hooked up. They don't even have time to land. Is that why they're called dragonflies? Because they're like dragging a female with them while they're flying and fucking? Flying and fucking. That's what dragonflies do in Texas. Okay? But here's how crazy it is. Where we live, it looks like we live on a safari, but it's really just a golf course that has a lot of natural shrubbery. Okay? A lot of green, a lot of trees, a lot of bushes, a lot of different plants, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, wiggling and giggling. But fireflies, everything. First week I was here, saw a armadillo walk through. Blew my mind. That was my mind blowing. Within the first month, and we see a ton of buns. Those little bunnies, little foo-foos, they just run around. We love it. Beowulf, my dog, just stares at them and just drool comes out of her mouth, just whimpering, wanting to tear them apart. A bunny is pretty much a dog toy. I've conditioned my dog to think that she's got to attack those things, and when they scream, it makes her happy. Isn't that the fucked up thing about chew toys? It's emulating the prey drive for a dog, and it's making them feel like they're attacking it, and like it's squealing, and they love it. So she just wants to get her fucking fangs on that shit. But here's the crazy part. This is what I'm getting at. It doesn't just stop at woodland creatures. Okay, I see some squirrels. I see some mice even. Fucking weird. This morning, saw a coon. Saw a raccoon just going about its business on a little game trail. Okay. Definitely within the first month we were here, it's about sunset. Okay, sun's getting real low. We're out on the patio, me and my girl and Beowulf. We're just watching it. All of a sudden, Beowulf gets real alert and real weird, stands up, looking at something off in the distance. And we look too. The fuck do we see? A mountain lion. A goddamn mountain lion on the golf course, just lurking through. And we're just like, holy shit. And I remember looking at it and I was like, is that a dog? And then as it came closer and started going through the bushes, we're like, no, that's a goddamn puma. Okay? And it disappeared, but it was just such a crazy moment that I almost didn't even think it was real. And since then, we've seen other types of feline friends. We've seen bobcats. We saw a bobcat the other day carrying a bun in its mouth, a little bunny just going through. And it was confirmed last weekend that it's a known thing that we got a mountain lion. I talked to this guy at this furniture store, and he always would golf here for the last 20 years. It is common knowledge that there's a neighborhood mountain lion that lives at the golf course. And there's certain parts of the golf course that they tell you not to go at night. And that you can hear it. We haven't heard it. But apparently, mountain lions are native here. That changes the whole dynamic of how I feel when I walk here at night, knowing that there's a mountain lion lurking. Okay? Because your boy has a history with them. I don't know if I ever told this, but one time camping at Thousand Trails in Acton, there was a night where my brother and I were emptying the trash, and along the tree line, I fell off my bike. Along the tree line, a mountain lion came out at night and was stalking me real low and was looking at me and walking really low, literally stalking me. And my brother screams and I screamed, and I guess it got scared, and we rode away on our bikes and were able to get away. It didn't chase us. It got spooked by us yelling. But they give me the heebie-jeebies. Mountain lions do. There's some about them. They creep me out more than when I see an actual African lion at the zoo or something. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies, something about them. living in the mountains. What are you hiding from? What are you hiding from, friend? Okay? And here's the thing also, when this guy tells me that mountain lions are native around here, hey, where's the mountains? That's just a ground lion at this point, okay? There's some mountain country around here, but hey, where's the mountains? I don't see them here. That's hill country. That's a hill lion at best. But he was saying how even where he lives, he can hear them at night. He says, yeah, I hear them at night. They're just, they're doing their calls. It's terrifying. And I was so into the story, I needed him to confirm the sound that he was hearing, because they're known to also like chirp. They'll do like a kind of thing, the way they talk. And I was like, okay, in the middle of the storm, my girl is laughing at me because I go, at night, you hear, wow. And she starts dying laughing, and he started laughing too. I get how weird it was. But he goes, yeah, that's what I hear. Sent chills up my spine. Sent chills up my spine. How terrifying would that be to be at home and to hear that off in the distance? And granted, mountain lions usually don't attack full-grown men, but I'm not very tall. I'm not very tall. Sometimes my neck hurts. I look like I walk with a limp. You get the right mountain lion, it might be like, fuck it, I'll take a chance. And here's the big thing. Mountain lions are usually scared of you. They want an easy prey. They're like bullies, But here's the thing. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I don't know if I could beat a mountain lion in a street fight. Hand to hand, hand to paw combat. I think a mountain lion has my number. And that's not me lacking confidence in my abilities. It's understanding the situation, okay? Because guess what? I'm ever at a bar and a mountain lion grabs my girl's ass, and it's just like, wow, what are you going to do about it? I'm going to be like, well, sir, I'm going to put my paws on you, okay? If I get backed into a corner, I'm like the wasp on my patio. I come out stinging. I got it. I'm going down with the fight, okay? But here's the thing. It might be one of those fights where I look back and I go, you tell my kids I love them. It's going to be that kind of going to war thing where it's like I have to give a speech to myself. It'll be like, one brave man showed the world. You start hearing that William Wallace theme song. And you're like, I know I'm going to die here, but going down swinging. Because I just feel, when I look at house cats, that's why house cats amaze me. When I see a house cat, I think, oh, I'd be fucked if this thing was big. Because one time, when I was a kid, there was a pack of feral cats in my backyard. And they had little cut tails, like they were fucking half bobcat. But I remember being a little kid, I was like, ooh, I want to play with that cat. And they would like run away when I would get near them. But one of them got stuck like near in the bamboo. And I went up and I grabbed it. Like, oh, I'm going to get this one and save it. And it's going to be my friend. Watch too many fucking Disney movies. Too many Disney movies. This cat, I grab it behind the neck. It's facing the wall. I grab it like it's a mother to, show it like, hey, I'm in charge. I'm your mother now. Mother Evan. It spins its head around like the Exorcist and bites my hand. Two little fang prints on my hand. It just goes, and I just go, ah! And I let go, and it runs up the wall like the fucking girl from The Grudge. It does that creepy run. It ran up the wall and was gone. Meanwhile, I got to nurse this fucking bloody hand now. Who knows if it's infected? I probably still have some issues from that bite. But I remember thinking, that cat fucked me up. And it was just a kid. I would even play fight, because I did have a cat growing up. Arby the Wonder Cat was my cat. Arby the Wonder Cat. Its mother's name was Gutter Two-Face. Okay? Why Gutter Two-Face? Because we found this cat in a gutter. And it had a half black face and a half calico face. So it had two faces. and we found it in a gutter. Obviously, the cat's name is Gutter Two-Face. Keep up. We had to sneak that cat home. I don't know if you know about my father. My father is 100% Puerto Rican. He just looks like a Taino Indian. You put him in front of a hut, that's him. But he grew up in Brooklyn during a time when it was easier to survive in Vietnam, statistically, than growing up in Brooklyn. They had a different outlook on cats and dogs. They weren't household pets. They were things that you would throw into a dumpster and watch fight. The man did not have a soft bone in his body for animals. Had to sneak this cat home. I was feeding it food in the car I was hiding under my jacket trying to feed it food so it wouldn't meow. And it did meow. And my dad went, "What the hell is that?" And I went, "I meowed. I'm getting pretty good at it, huh?" I don't think he bought it. But he's a softie at heart because he's kind of like, he has to pretend like he knew what it was, but he was still just like, this goddamn kid. This goddamn kid has nothing but pigeons in the backyard. I guess he can have this. Got Gutter Two-Face home. Gutter Two-Face ends up having a litter eventually. And one of those cats came out in a ball. It was a ball. Its umbilical cord got wrapped around its foot, and it was just stuck like that. I cut the umbilical cord, and I got a soft spot for broken things. So I decided we could keep one cat. I decided to keep Arby. Arby the Wonder Cat. I used to sing in a song, Arby, Arby, whoa, Arby the Wonder Cat. It's a great song. I haven't copyrighted it yet. But Arby had a fucked up leg. It never recovered from that issue. There was like not enough blood to it. So Arby had a weird little stump foot. Okay? Had claws coming out of weird sides of its leg. And it would just walk around. You ever seen Scary Movie? The guy, the butler who was like fixing the chicken or the turkey. He was like, "Let me get you with my strong hand." You know what I'm talking about? That was Arby's paw. And Arby would try to play with me with it. And I'd be like, "Arby, you know the rules. Keep that fucking thing away from me." But the big point that I'm making, Arby would get a little aggressive sometimes. Arby and I would fight like siblings, rolling around, everything. Arby be jumping around the room. And I would be thinking, if this was a full-grown lion, I would be dead. Okay? Like, we're very lucky that house cats aren't full-grown. You see a video on YouTube of like a cat, how aggressive it is, like when it's playing with something. You know how terrifying a house cat is to a mouse? Terrifying. Apocalyptic level terrifying. And that makes me wonder if I could really if I could fight a mountain lion and win. And I don't think so. I just feel like they have way too many ways to kill you and are too fucking flexible. Okay? I feel a little more confident with a dog. I definitely think I could take a dog out in reality. If it latches on, dude, if a dog bites my arm, I'm pinning it to the ground and I'm able, once I get a knee on the neck or something like that, I've controlled the dog. It's not getting back up. But you try to do that to a lion, a mountain lion, or a ground lion like here in Texas, it's just going to fucking loop its legs around and start fucking soccer kicking you in the face with claws. It's going to gut you. I got nothing for it. And that also brings me to my next question. How big of a cat could I fight? Like, what's the limit? Where do I top out? Because there is a limit. We just don't know it. You know how there's an answer to everything. Where there's a literal amount of weight that I could carry. And somewhere in there is 1 ounce more that I couldn't do it. Okay? What is the limit for how big of a cat I could fight? And I'd like to get to the bottom of that. People like to see stuff like Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul. I want to fight a big cat. The biggest cat I can fight. Okay? Maybe something, maybe fight that tiger from Joe Exotic, the one that bit the girl's arm off. Dude, that show was so crazy. Tiger King. Can you believe that girl got her arm bit off? And Tiger King's response, Joe's response was, I'm never going to financially recover from this. That is an insane person. But I'm fucking here for it. Tiger King season 2. Why not? And if I can't fight the biggest big cat, how many house cats could I fight? Like, how many house cats? Because I'll be honest, I could take one house cat. I'll take 2. I'll take 3. But 4? 4 starts getting a little weird. 4 starts getting a little weird because then you start matching up all your limbs. Okay? 5 gets confusing too. Because you just don't know how they're going to come at you. Because that's the other thing. They would have to have the intention to really test yourselves against house cats. They would all have to have the intention of trying to kill you. You get the 7 house cats, things are going to get weird. Because it's like an instant thing where you're grabbing them, throwing them through windows. Like, what is, like, you're just trying to slam them against walls and shit, right? I'm obviously not going to be punching them. That'd be a weird use of my energy and resources. But like, one cat's going to get on your neck. Another cat's going to get on your neck. They're going to be like doing shit. They get your eyeballs out. You're in a world of pain. Okay? The best strategy might be to get in a ball and do the bang-a-rang from fucking Hook. We just go bang-a-rang and you just cover all your sensitive areas and just roll with it. That's kooky, ladies and gentlemen. That is kooky. Speaking of the Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul, obviously this has been a big spectacle. Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. Did I watch it? Yeah, every second. Every second of it that I could bootleg. Huh? Keep up. Would I pay for that fight? No. I wouldn't pay for it, but a lot of people did. And a lot of people paid to go to it, which is beautiful. Listen, I respect the amount of interest that this fight garnered. 100%. I respect the dedication that both of these men put into it. I think anybody, on an objective level, anybody who's willing to step in a cage or a ring and fight another grown man they have my respect, because no one does not deal with fear of doing that. Okay? And it takes balls. So I respect Jake Paul for getting in there and doing that. I respect Tyron Woodley for getting there and doing that. I respect the amount of money that they made. I think it's great. Make your money. Everybody. Make as much money as you can. Have fun. Take ownership of shit. And that's the biggest thing that I love to see with it, is you see people making money and being in control. Content creators being in control. And if I refer to fighters as content creators in this situation, because what you see a lot of times is you're kind of at the whim. You don't have any leverage. Okay, that's what I think is across all sports, across all forms of entertainment. Get your leverage, baby. And now more than ever, the leverage is available. That's the greatest thing. I talk a lot of shit about the internet. I talk a lot of shit about social media. The greatest thing that we have with it is the ability to create leverage, whether that's monetary, attention, access to information. Get your leverage, baby. Get your leverage. Because back in the day, even still, you get locked in these contracts. There's so many different avenues that you can go down to get to where you're trying to go. With fighters, it sucks because unless you have attention, you don't have leverage. If people want to see you fight, then you have leverage. And you see some fighters not being able to make a lot of money, and they've dedicated their entire life to this. But it's not just what it is. People, there's very, very, very few fighters that get to the top just off of skill. People want to see them fight. They're exciting. They're a draw. This is a business, baby. That's why you see someone like Floyd Mayweather, who was, before he had all the attention, the greatest defensive boxer in the world. Even going for more knockouts. He was more exciting before when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. But no one wanted to see him fight. He was fighting on undercards. And then he switched to Money Mayweather and became obnoxious. And people just wanted to see him get knocked out. They were living vicariously through him. It was entertaining. And it changed the game. And he set the blueprint. It's where you see Conor McGregor come from. If you don't think Conor McGregor was influenced by Floyd Mayweather, you're fucking crazy. People like a showman. And yeah, Conor McGregor brings his own pizzazz to it. But there's a blueprint. And that's what I like about seeing something like Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, is you're seeing people be able to build their own leverage. And one thing I thought was cool, before I actually get to the fight and what I thought about it, there was a thing going around this morning that Jake Paul, he made something like 2.8 million or something like that was his purse. And he donated $1 million of his purse to other fighters on the card. Phenomenal move that you don't see a lot. And fighters have the opportunity to do it, but they don't do it. You don't think Canelo has an opportunity to donate his purse to other fighters on the card? He does, but he doesn't do it. So that was the coolest thing that I saw. That, and again, this is alleged. This isn't set in stone. I didn't see the tax returns for this. But he even donated money to Tyron Woodley to help him get over the $1 million purse. The co-main event, Serrano, girl from Puerto Rico who won, he donated $500,000 to her, and then sprinkled money, $50,000 here, $50,000 here, to fighters throughout the card. So I thought that was amazing. And while I do find the antics and sometimes his persona that comes off, he's a troll. He's doing it on purpose. I'm sure he's not a terrible guy. I don't know if he's a great guy. But a lot of it is just for garnering attention and being a troll and making it entertaining. And that's a lot of what has made people interested in even seeing this fight. Because if he would have, beat Nate Robinson, been humble, didn't call out Ben Askren and start talking all this shit that wasn't talking shit to Tyron Woodley, no one would have cared to see it. Nobody would care to see it. And he's doing good with it. This was a real test, getting now to the actual card or the actual fight. This was a real test. Fighting Tyron Woodley. Whew. Tyron Woodley is a knockout artist. And here's the truth, though, of the situation. Jake Paul won a decision, a split decision, which I thought was interesting. I really do feel like Tyron Woodley won that fight. I feel like Tyron Woodley won. I feel like they gave a lot of punches. I would have to watch it again from different angles with a punch counter, but I feel like they gave Jake Paul a lot of punches that just touched or were blocked as actual punches, because the statistics, I was like, Jake Paul landed that many in that round compared to Tyron, who didn't really land that round. Like, what are they counting here? And obviously, Jake Paul is putting on the whole event. It's his commission. It's his judges. It's his hometown. It's like, dude, of course they're leaning towards that. They want this money train to keep going. So I found that interesting. Tyron Woodley had him rocked at one point. Didn't finish the fight. He tried to, but he got caught. But I just feel, if you look at Tyron Woodley's, ever since Kamaru Usman, Tyron Woodley hasn't really pulled the trigger. He's kind of been playing it safe. He tried to rush his last fight against Vicente, and and he got knocked out in the first round. Or he got dropped, and then he got finished, tapped out. But, and he even mentioned that after the fight that he didn't want to rush in. But the thing is not taking those chances. It's going to turn into a boring fight. And that's kind of what happened. Is it felt like everybody was just yelling at the TV, wanting Tyron to pull the trigger. And Tyron just didn't really pull it. And it's kind of what Tyron Woodley's done in his last few fights. He did it against Colby Covington, Vicente Luque, whatever his name is, Kamaru Usman, and I forgot who his other fight was. But he didn't pull the trigger. And obviously, you want that old Tyron to come out, and you were kind of hoping for it, but it didn't really happen. And Jake Paul looked good. He looked good. I thought he's pretty, I believe the hype a little bit. And obviously you see these training highlights and things look always dope, and you hear these hush whispers of how he looks in training. But as far as how long he's been training, he looks good. He doesn't look like a Canelo. He doesn't look like a real pro fighter, you know? He looks like someone who's just been doing it for a couple of years, and that's totally fine. He looks great. He's dedicated to the sport. If he sticks with it, he could be a good boxer. But I think, if you put him in there with a pro boxer at his weight, someone with a real record, I think he's going to have a lot of problems. But that's just the truth. But why would he want to do that? Sorry. Sorry, I smoked 10 packs of cigarettes before this episode. But yeah, why would Jake Paul want to do that? The idea of boxing and making it a spectacle and trying to be entertaining, like Jake Paul's an entertainer. He's using boxing as the vehicle for it now because something he's passionate about, something he finds interesting right now. People change, they evolve. There might be a day where he doesn't want to box anymore. It's totally fine. Go do something else, He's done music, he's done vlogging. He's an entertainer, and he's just using different, things that are interesting to him at that time. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's the whole idea of boxing, is to go in there, get hit, or to hit, not get hit, and make as much money as possible. That's literally the blueprint of how you have a successful boxing career. And you might be like, I want to put on a war for the fans. I want to do this. I want to really test myself. Yeah, those are great, but those are just ego. That's just all ego. Those are the journeymen who have great fights, but they never end up, making the amount of money that they should. And obviously there's the 1%ers. You could be talking about Gotti, Ward, all these other boxers. Really gave the fans what they want. And I mean, I love those boxers. But that isn't the smartest way to go about it. So overall, I thought it was a great fight. Thought it was a great event. I thought it was 10 times better than Triller or whatever else, the bullshit they did last time with music acts. It felt like a very professional boxing event. I mean, the commentators were a little biased, but hey, it could have been much worse. And it was the first time they were doing this. So I look forward to it. I love seeing spectacles. I love seeing odd things happen. And I'm trying to put my name in a hat. Your boys have been training for years, had amateur matches. I'm ready, and you might be like, oh, you're talking about boxing. I'm trying to fight a cat, big cat, I really think I could get in there and piece up a bobcat for sure. As long as I can kick, I think I could take out a bobcat, and if maybe we created some rules for the mountain lion, like if you put maybe a muzzle on the mountain lion, that changes things. I might be able to, pepper it with a jab, maybe knock it out. Maybe I catch it with a cross, maybe a hook, maybe a knee. How crazy would it be to see me in a cage fighting a mountain lion? Okay. And you know what? Fuck it. I am going to. This is an official call out to the mountain lion that's living on my golf course. You think you can scare me? Okay. You think you can just live rent free at a golf course and strike fear in me when I walk at night? No, you're fucking taking everything I've worked for, okay? And I'm gonna fight your fucking ass. I'm the real fight. I'm the real money fight around here, okay? Pussy. The only rules, it can't use its teeth. It has to wear a muzzle. I'll wear 4-ounce gloves, and I'm gonna knock this cat the fuck out. Because fuck cats at the end of the day, all right? I'm gonna knock this cat the fuck out. I want you to take a minute and just visualize that. Imagine me in a cage fighting a mountain lion. We're being introduced and everything. And imagine me running across the cage and just punching in the head and the cat goes down. Imagine that. There's a pissed off wife cat on the side watching. And then I feel bad because there's little cubs and they just saw their dad get knocked the fuck out by a human. I'm here for it. 2022, I'm fighting a mountain lion, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this episode. All right. And just remember, I love you. Listen, got a teaser dropping for the music video. We didn't even talk about the guest host COVID, but fuck him. You know, he talked a lot of shit about me in that episode. A teaser will be dropping tonight, Wednesday. Friday. Yeah. Friday, the actual music video drops for Without Me, a parody. COVID, all right? It's going down. We got weird this Wednesday. Great. That's what we do, baby. That's what we do. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know why the fuck I say that. No matter what, remember, I still love you.